All right, let's get back into American Miscellany. We are now on essay number 81. It's going to be about Switzerland. We've just finished an interesting piece on slavery in Russia. That was essay number 80. And we're just here reading a whole book of essays. This book called American Miscellany was published in 1865. So it's also a very interesting historical perspective. So let's see what they had to say about Switzerland. We're here on page 199, essay number 81. Switzerland is reputed to be the freest country in Europe. This is an error, arising most likely from the common notion that the country is a confederacy of republics, which wrested its freedom from surrounding despotisms. It is one thing to throw off a foreign yoke, and another to establish internal freedom. Switzerland, at the present day, with all its wonderful industry and spirit of liberality in matters of international trade, is, in point of fact, a cluster of little despotisms, the despots in each case being a majority of the population which oppresses the minority. Oppression on the score of religion and of birth. Ignorance and selfishness, which is only a manifestation of ignorance, are conjointly the cause of this discreditable state of affairs. Under the common name of Swiss, three great European races meet and nestle about the heart of the Alps: the French from the west, the Germans from the north and east, and the Italians from the south. And the want of communication till of late years has kept these races apart and ignorant of each other. Nowhere also is the distinction of religion more marked. 2/3 of the Swiss are Protestants, and the remaining 1/3 Catholics, and the Protestant and Catholic cantons, as the recent civil war has shown, hate each other as the hostile clans in the Highlands hated each other 200 years ago. Besides, though Switzerland, compared with most countries, is a land of mountains, the great part of it is composed of plains amidst the stupendous Alps. 2 hours stiff climbing suffices to change from the neat-trimmed flower garden and stuccoed cottage of the industrious artisan of Zurich into the lofty hill country of Schweiz, where the mountaineer leads a half-vagabond existence, tending his numerous goats among storms and mist, while his children run ragged and barefoot along the road, begging from travelers. Between people so variously situated there can be little sympathy. A consequence of this national disintegration has been that the rights of citizenship possessed in one canton have always been good for nothing in another. The citizen of Geneva, who was driven to settle in the Valais, was allowed toleration, but neither he nor his posterity could, by any length of residence, become denizens of their adopted country. A Roman Catholic at Lucerne, who turned Protestant, lost all his property and was liable to banishment. A Protestant at Bern, turning Roman Catholic, was punished in like manner. Several of the present cantons continued, up to the time of the French Revolution, to be vassals to the larger ones. Thus, the canton of Bern was sovereign lord of the present cantons of Vaud, Uri, and Tessin, which it crushed with taxation, without admitting its subjects to any political rights whatever. Thus, in process of time, it came to pass that all over Switzerland there grew up a distinct body of men, the descendants of individuals who had lost their civil rights in their respective cantons, either in consequence of change of religion or of misdemeanors for which they were sentenced to banishment, or of illegal marriages, or lastly as foreigners settled in Switzerland. The stigma thus cast upon the fathers descended upon the children to the last generation. They formed a separate class called Heimatlosen, literally the homeless people, to whom the law allowed nothing, involuntary outlaws. They exist at the present moment in steadily increasing numbers, and as injustice always reacts on itself, the parties so degraded form an organized body of mendicants, hucksters, pilferers, and often robbers, like the gypsies of other countries, but much more numerous, compact, and formidable to the society which has cast them out. Some years ago, these Heimatlosen were become so troublesome that their state was forced upon the attention of the Swiss Diet, which instituted inquiries accordingly, the result of which is now before us. The report stated the Heimatlosen to amount to many thousands in number in all the central cantons, from the Lake of Geneva to the Grisons, beginning at the Hannenstein in Canton Soleure on the west and extending on the east beyond the Rhine into the Austrian Principality of Liechtenstein. None of these thousands had any fixed trade or were allowed by law to possess a permanent house or lodging. When they ventured into towns, they assumed for the time the characters of thread twisters, match sellers, bird catchers, and menders of pots and kettles. Whenever they might, they lived by choice in the woods and mountains, supporting themselves by all kinds of thievery. At night they creep into caves, or sleep round a fire in the open air, and this through the depths of winter. Marriage is unknown among them. None of those examined could tell to their own age, and very few knew who were their fathers and mothers. As soon as the children can walk, they are sent into the towns to beg and steal, and bring their plunder at night to the elder vagrants, who remain meantime encamped in the forest. They have still a voluntary government, and their leader at this time was a noted housebreaker named Cruciquans, subsequently executed. Wherever and whenever discovered, they are liable to be imprisoned without cause assigned, and formerly, when the prisons were overcrowded, many were executed without even the formality of a trial. They are now, as soon as seized, escorted by troops to the boundaries of the canton and thrust into the next, by which they are expelled in like manner, unless they can in meantime escape. The report recommended various plans for absorbing this unwholesome population, but nothing has been done, and the troubled state of the country renders any improvement now less likely than ever. Vaud was a few years ago the scene of some enormities on the score of religion, and while we now write, intelligence has been received that the Council of State of that canton, which is Presbyterians, has enacted that all religious meetings of parties, not in connection with the authorized church, are illegal. Public worship of all such bodies is public worship of all such bodies is accordingly put down by military force, and ministers are in danger of their lives. A more startling instance of the tyranny of a majority over a minority could scarcely be found in modern times. Our illustration presents a panoramic view of Zurich, the most important manufacturing town of Switzerland, the capital of the canton of that name, which has taken the federal or Protestant side in the recent struggle. The town lies at the north end of the Lake of Zurich and on the banks of the Limmat. It is the seat of the Swiss Diet, alternately with Bern and Lucerne, for a period of 2 years together. The banks of the lake and river and all the neighboring hills are thickly dotted with houses, now united with the town itself by the removal of the useless and inconvenient ramparts, and forming a wide circle of suburbs. There is little worthy of note in the public buildings of Zurich. Its most pleasing features are its promenades, the best of which commands a delightful view of the town, lake, and distant Alps. Zurich is historically remarkable as the place where the Reformation first commenced in Switzerland in 1519. It has also been the asylum of many eminent English Protestants, and here was printed in 1535 the first entire English version of the Bible by Miles Coverdale. All right, let's take a look at this illustration. It's going to be kind of tricky to look at, so here we go. It's titled View of Zurich, Switzerland.